Welcome to Cooking with Heart foundational class. So this is like, I love doing this. So you just guys make my day by being here. So I love sharing the information, but it's more than information, as you're going to learn tonight. I know you came here because you want to put this into action, and that's what we're going to explore together. I'm super excited. I'm just going to amaze you about food and some things you didn't know, and you're here, so I know you have an open mind to this. We're going to talk about why we eat. We're going to talk about some cool things about the foods tonight, and we're going to get into throughout the class things like how to set yourself up so that you can actually eat so that you have the health you want. So who likes to cook? So raise your hand. So those at home, if you can either raise your hand or just, raise your hand on your screen. So I've got a few hands here. So not everybody in the room. So who would like to be inspired to cook? Okay, there we go. We got a lot more hands there. So real quick here, I'm going to make sure I'm not hearing you back. You guys are really quiet, the home group there, but I'm just going to, looks like you guys are all muted. I didn't even mute you. That's amazing. So I just want to make sure. So let's see. And I see somebody sent a chat. So me. Okay, Mindy, you like to cook. Awesome. So okay.
I like to cook.
So let's see. Today we're going to make 5 dishes, not 4. Well, I'm going to take you through 4 in detail and give you a 5th one, the cookies for sure. So you're going to get to taste the cookies if you're here. So we're going to do seared salmon and lemon wine sauce. This is my favorite way to do salmon. And if you are not a fan of salmon, I just ask that you have an open mind. You may not like it, but I've had many people that are like, I just don't do salmon. And then they try it and they're like, that is good. So hang in there. We're going to do a veggie that I'm going to just keep secret for now because a lot of people don't care for it. So we'll just kind of go with it. So we're going to do a nearly instant meal called Naked Burrito Bowl. It's naked because it doesn't have a tortilla. So it's super easy. It's what I call my nearly instant meal. So requests all the time are for meals that are so easy to do. This one is so easy to do. So, and I have many participants that go through the class. They adjust it and they make it all the time for their family. And then chewy chocolate chip cookies. So gotta have that. So we'll go through that. So, and in a moment, I'm going to cover about heart healthy eating. So really go into depth so you get a grasp of that better. Okay, so a few housekeeping things as we get started into these classes. So first, you should have gotten a binder. If you're virtually, let me know for sure if you didn't get your binder in the mail. So everybody here, I've got binders. So that's your valuable resource, okay? So refer to that, mark it up, it's yours. There is in the binder, if you flip open, there's a pre-assessment there. This is something kind of new. What I'm trying to do is track something that's easy enough to track to help you make this sustainable changes and help me track what's happening. So anyway, so just bear with me, go through it and answer it. We'll do a post assessment. It'll only take you like 20 seconds to do. And also I'm always wanting to know where you're hearing about these classes because we're always trying to get the word out there and we want to know what's working. So if you can do that, those of you that's at home, I will send kind of a virtual one to you so you can send it back to me. I'm still figuring it out. I don't have skills where I can create an online form yet. So, but I'll send it to you guys at home there. So, but if you can just leave that with Linda or Lisa here so that I can keep that and then we'll compare it at the end. Recording. I'm recording this. I've got 2 things recording. Cross our fingers that this works. So Microsoft Teams doesn't always cooperate, okay? What you see on the screen isn't always what it records. So I have my own personal computer over there recording the screen. I have a screen capture Camtasia there. So cross my fingers through the two, I'll get something that I can send to you guys in a couple days. So, and that's for you to review because I cover a lot. Also, if you have to miss for some reason, but I strongly encourage you come, okay? Because you're just going to get so much more out of the classes if you just come here. Let's see, there's a hidden web page. I don't know if you've gotten the emails. There's a hidden web page that we create so that it's your resource. First of all, it had the link. It looks like we got lots of people virtually here that made it online. So that's where the instructions are. It's going to be the same link. So just go to that same page, click on it just like you did. Also, if you scroll down further, we've actually got week by week a link that has in a PDF the recipes and shopping list and pictures of products, okay? Because a lot of people are like, Teresa, you went through that so fast and I want to know. So that's there as a resource if you ever want to get the recipe and you don't have your binder or so that kind of thing. Let's see, for those at home, I try and keep you muted most of the time. It's just less distracting. However, I want to hear from you. So I'll ask for your input. And so if you touch your screen with your mouse or your hand, if you have a tablet, you should see some icons come up and then you'll see like a microphone with an X. You just click on that to unmute yourself and then you can share or you can send in the chat. So if you're comfortable, we love hearing from you. Okay, and the chat is a great way. The chat bubble is an icon there. Okay, so class format, it's an hour and a half long, and I could go longer. So I am going to pack in an hour and a half, but I will cut it at an hour and a half so that you guys here can taste and then get home in a decent time. 45 minutes, I do a nutrition lecture, and I won't put you to sleep, I promise. So, and it's really important, the nutrition information, it's connected to the dishes that we want to eat more of. So it'll help you make sense that you can connect the dots and you can do this on your own. So, and the last 45 minutes, I go step by step through the recipes, but it's more than the recipes because I get asked a lot of times, can I just have the recipes? And I'm like, well, you know what? It's the class. It's not the recipes, it's the class. So you learn about storing, you learn about substituting, you learn about spices, you learn about other dishes you can do that are related. So that's what's key. So the recipes are great, but I want you to go beyond that. So, okay. Now you signed up for class to probably, you know, lower your blood pressure, maybe drop your cholesterol, maybe just, you know, you're really interested in health. Maybe you want to drop a little weight. So, you know what? You're going to accomplish that if you stick with this. So, and I've seen many people do that. Okay, we have a lot of success stories. In the back, we have a success story from Jessica, her 40s, heart attack, lost 60 pounds. And then we have like Christopher, him and his wife did this for like 3 months and lost like 140 pounds together. The wife went off 11 meds down to 1. He had his, he was on insulin, went from like 72 down to 2. He had a normal HDL first time in his life. So, you know, things like that happen. Now, here's the thing, we're all at different places in our life, and some of us have like for 40, 50, 60 years built up some habits we need to break. So it might take a little undoing. So hang in there, guys. I'm going to give you the foundation that you will achieve what you want to achieve, but you got to stick with it. So now, and that kind of leads into one thing that I really want you to know that most programs I find miss. So most diets, most programs work for a small subset of people for a short amount of time, okay? But you're not here to see results for a short amount of time. You're here for this to last and be fun and doable. So that's what this is about. This is about a health journey. I've been on my health journey probably 30 plus years. Now, maybe you've been dabbling in it for the last 10 years. Maybe you've intentionally been doing it for 20 years, and maybe you're just getting started. Hey, you're going to find what you need here. So, but this is a process that happens every day. The choices you make every day impact your health. So, and everything is a learning. So there's no perfect decisions you're supposed to be making, guys. Okay. This is all good. Everything you do is a learning experience. So now I want you to know you are going to be a completely different person in 4 weeks. Okay. So just imagine that. You're never going to be the same. Okay. You're going to be a changed person in 4 weeks. So, and also you're not going to be done. Okay. I'm still on my health journey. I'm still tweaking things. Okay. My lipid values are better than they were in my 30s. Okay. And I'm mid 50s. So, and that's because I just keep changing. They're better than they were when I hit 50. So you can get better, guys. Okay. So, now, I hope nobody's scared off so far. A little bit about myself. I'm the culinary instructor here for all the community classes. My kind of role here at Unity Point is strategic community outreach for cardiology and oncology. So I do the cooking classes and other things out in the community because I love sharing the positive message of health. Now my dad, he passed away 3 years ago with 23 stents in him and he was like 78. At age 48, he had open heart bypass. So guess what? I have the genes, but I don't give them the environment where they thrive. Okay. So now my mom, she is remarried and she's 81 and she just landed in Australia this morning for 3 weeks with her new husband. And she has survived 5 cancers. So she changed her lifestyle entirely at 52 when she had her first breast cancer. So my dad refused. So I have the brilliant example for my parents of seeing what happens with lifestyle and when you decide not to. So I have 5 kids. I have 4 kids. Wow, I grew. So I have 4 kids, single mom. So I need to take care of myself. Okay. I can say I have no time. I have no time. But I make sure I take care of myself because I need energy. Because guess what? When I get home at 9:15 tonight, I'm going to be bombarded by kids. Okay, they're not little ones, but they still bombard you when they're like teens and young adults. So I need to be ready for that, not say, hey, no, I can't. So I have to take care of myself. I have to do this. I'm going to be 60 when my youngest one graduates from high school. Okay. So I would like to continue on actively. Okay. So, all right. So we have 2 wonderful people that are volunteering to help me out. I'd love for them to come up here and just say a little word about them and how they're connected to the Cooking with Heart classes. We have Lisa Craig here. Go ahead, Lisa. Step in the spotlight there.
Okay, what do I look at? So my name is Lisa Craig, and I've had breast cancer twice. The second time was 5 years ago, and it was considered stage 4. And one of my burning questions was always, how should a cancer patient eat? And during the pandemic, they'd started a class. I think it was in 2020 that Teresa taught, and so that's how I got involved in these classes, because that was one of my questions, because I wanted to know how to eat more plant-based and things like that. So that's how I got involved with Teresa. But because of my cancer, I retired and I worked at Deere with Bernice. And I retired, and I've been involved with different charities. I'm volunteer with Gilda's Club. I volunteer with Relay for Life. And so that's kind of my job these days, is doing volunteer. But after my classes, I got into cooking more, and I actually started buying tofu, and I was always buying kale, but I never really knew what to do with it. And so Teresa taught me. And I look for more plant-based pastas and things like that. So, you don't have to add meat. I use lentils more. And so I loved her classes that I took. So hopefully you guys all will too.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Linda Giebert, and I've been a nurse here at Trinity for 45 years. I worked in many departments, and currently I manage the parish nurse department. So my nurses are in the churches, and they promote holistic health in body, mind, and spirit. So good, healthy eating is one aspect of that. I've taken all of Teresa's classes. She's taught me so much, even though I've taken nutritional classes in my nursing education. I learn something from her all the time. You will love it. I'm so proud that you're here because this is the first step of creating a healthier new you. So enjoy your time here and don't be afraid to sample everything and try at home what she's going to teach you.
Thanks. Thank you. So I can't wait to get to know a little bit more about your story and your challenges. So, we're in this together. We're a community. So, reach out, ask for support from one another, get to know the others in the class, please. Couple things. I'm new this class series. I decided I'm going to give a free gift to you guys. So if you go to all 4 classes or attend, I am going to create a 5-day plant menu. So now people ask me for menus all the time. Now just be careful. So what this is meant is to inspire you. It will use some of the dishes from class so you see how you can incorporate them and just give you some ideas for other things. I don't want you to follow it. Okay, exactly. But it will help you. So if you attend all 4 classes, that's something waiting for you. The other thing that I'm doing new with this series is I'm incorporating short videos that I'll share with you in between classes about some concepts, about some kind of what I call mindset and psychology-ish things, because you're here learning, but it takes more than listening to a really good TED Talk or reading a book or having a conversation with somebody. You've got to change things in here to put it into practice and understand some of the things that are going to get in the way and understand that, that's okay. So I have a video that I've done. I need to edit it. I did it earlier this week, but it's on your big why. You came into this class because you want to improve your health. That's great. And you will, like I said, but I want you to get more than that. I want you to continue this journey and be able to continue it when you feel like quitting. Okay. So, because it is hard out there. Okay. You go out the door there and there's a lot of things that just look at difficult. So I know that. So I want to make it as easy as possible. And one thing is learning and defining your big why. And there's some other videos I'll put together with some concepts that I hear from people that might help you. So, so that's coming. Okay. So let's see. Okay. So I have 4 principles that I share every single class. I'm sure Lisa and Linda and Elaine can recite these, but I share them every single series I do because they're so key. And I see them in every single person. Linda and Lisa that talked here, they exhibit these 4 things. First thing is be open-minded. Okay, now you came here, you're here, so I know you're open-minded, but I want you to continue to have an open mind. Okay, so we're going to eventually get to tofu, like Lisa talked about. Not this class, not next class, but we will. Now, you don't have to eat tofu to be super healthy, okay? So I don't want to scare you right now, but it's an option. And I want you to have an open mind when I cover it. Tonight, we're going to do a secret veggie that a lot of people just stay away from. So I just want you to have an open mind. And I want you to be like a scientist to try and discover that recipe you love. Okay, now you're going to like a lot of these recipes, but I want you to love them. So I want you to tweak them and work on them. And then after you find that you love it, then I want you to work on how to make it easier, quicker. So, because these are important things. And I want you to be able to do it with tired. So, so I want you to just continue to challenge yourself. Second thing is take baby steps. Okay, so I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, but anybody that is a high achieving, ambitious person, this is going to be the hardest of them all. Okay. I truly say baby steps, like tiny, so tiny. You're like, that's ridiculous, Teresa. So, and here's the thing. I know you want this for yourself, and I love that, but this needs to be something that you don't have to devote a lot of mental energy and time to. It needs to happen kind of in the backdrop of your life for it to really take hold. So even me, health enthusiast me, I've got all kinds of work that I need to do and kids and all that, so that I don't want to be spending 2 hours a day on my health. Okay. So I want you to take baby steps and just know you're good. I'm not there yet, guys. I still got to work on things. So, the tortoise and the hare, you want to be the tortoise. Okay. I had a conversation with a gentleman the other day that dropped his cholesterol without drugs 100 points. He said the hardest thing was taking baby steps. He said he's used to, when he decides something, he goes for it and he knocks it out. It doesn't work that way, guys. This is, and I say this a lot because I see it a lot. There's a lot of very successful, intelligent people in the world that are unhealthy because they get frustrated because they're like, I keep giving attention to this health thing, lifestyle thing, and it backfires. I just quit. So you got to take it, just learn from it, baby steps. And we'll go into that more and more as we go along. So, okay. And so kind of, if you want to keep this in your mind, you want to be able to crush it on your worst day. If you have a horrible day next week, I want you to be able to hold on to your health habits so that if you miss them, skip them, you're like, something's wrong. What happened? I feel grumpy or something. So you miss it when it's not there, that you always just automatically go for it. Okay, self-compassion, number 3. And this is a hard one because we are wired to kind of beat ourselves up. So, but that doesn't help, guys. Guilt, shame, berating doesn't help. We're really good at that. But I'm going to tell you that, gosh, that's going to really get in the way of progress here. You've got to be your best friend that helps pick you up and says, you got it. You're going to keep going. And guess what? Everybody struggles. Everybody does. So it's not just you. So continue on the journey. Like I said, we're wired for negativity. We're wired for overeating. We're actually, in a way, trying to redo our evolutionarily wiring. Think about that. We're rewiring evolutionarily how we're wired by trying to eat this way, okay? Because it's not instant reward, okay? It can taste delicious, yes, which is great. But we're used to the other instant rewards. So, okay. And the last thing is, gotta have fun. Gotta have fun. All the research says people that enjoy it do so much better. So how do you have fun? Well, I'm going to leave that up to you, but I'll give you some hints. So I don't know if you noticed, I have a glass here. It's got water, okay? It doesn't have wine in it. But the point is, make things special. This is your health you're investing in. So if you drink a glass of water with a lemon, lime, raspberry in it while you're in the kitchen, great. Do something to celebrate. You can also put on things like playlists, like music. Okay, just ask your kids and grandkids for their playlist. Okay, so that's what I do. So books on tape. You can do things like that. Podcasts. My 26-year-old, that is her go-to. She listens to, I don't know, like 5 podcasts a day. So she loves it. So, but in the kitchen, that's what she blasts. So, and the shower. Other things, you can, like, after I do my big grocery store, I do my menu planning, and then I check the refrigerator out, clean it out. Then I go to Walmart and all these. And then I come home, I clean it, put everything in, I sit down and I watch 10 minutes of a Netflix, just as my reward. So, I mean, I've done this for years, but it's just nice to kind of look forward to that. So invite somebody to cook with you or call somebody on the phone, but make it fun and share with me how you make it fun. But you got to make it fun. The last tip, and then I'm going to get going into the nutrition, is to change the wording from I should do this, I need to do this, to I choose to do this. I choose to come here on Tuesday night. This is not difficult, a pain. Yes, I know you have to clear your schedule, and I do appreciate that, and I honor that. But if you can tell yourself, I choose to eat this bite of vegetable first in my meal. Okay, try it with washing dishes. I've done that. That's a good test. I choose to wash the dishes now. Okay. So, but it really does kind of change things. And I know you're playing tricks in your mind. You're like, Teresa, this isn't going to work. It does. It works for the most part. So, okay. So let's get going. So I want to talk about heart health. So what comes to mind when I say heart health? What are some things that kind of trickle up to your mind? Salt. You can go ahead and take yourself off mute at home, or you can send me in the chat. Heart health, salt, I heard.
Exercise.
Exercise.
Weight.
Weight.
Stress.
Stress.
Low fat.
Low fat.
Vegetable.
Vegetables. I love that.
Low
Okay, got
sugar.
anything from home? Looks like we got some things here virtually. Let's
Low
see.
sugar.
And you guys, no red meat, low sugar. Okay, awesome. Okay, so we're going to cover a lot of these things. Okay, I want to go through what happens in your body so you can really understand when we start talking about food, you're like, oh, yes. Okay, so heart disease first is not a simple one process, two-step, three-step. It's kind of all over, but there's a little bit of a template that we see happening, let's just say a pattern, a trend. So let me define cholesterol, because cholesterol gets a bad rap. Cholesterol actually is something that is in every single cell in your body. Just let that sink in. Every single cell in your body has cholesterol. It's a soft, waxy-like substance. It's fat soluble, so it doesn't float in your bloodstream because it's not water soluble. And so the body has this magnificent solution where it packages cholesterol in this thing called lipoprotein. So that's how it's transported throughout the body. And it has different roles depending upon which lipoprotein it is. Now, the cholesterol in your body, the number let me back up. The amount of cholesterol you make is actually 4 times what you eat. 4 times, you make 4 times what you eat. And that's why we've kind of, over the years, you've kind of noticed we've kind of dropped off this counting your cholesterol, because it really doesn't, for the most part, matter. There's some other things we want to pay attention to. So, and if you want more in-depth discussion of that, I'm happy to do that. But we're going to watch something else that actually kind of takes care of cholesterol in food too. So you make it. So the question is, what influences making it? So we're going to get into that. So, okay. Now, so these lipoproteins, we have 2 that we talk about a lot that you hear all the time. LDL, HDL. LDL stands for low density lipoprotein. HDL is high density lipoprotein. So let's start with LDL, because everybody thinks of it like bad. Okay, it's not bad. We need it. Okay, we really do. It's just when it gets out of balance. So it is actually starts out at the liver. A lot of it's made there, packaged at the liver, and its job is very simply to transport cholesterol all throughout your body. So it goes throughout the body and delivers it. So that's its job. Okay, I'll get back to what happens when it malfunctions. But HDL, high density lipoprotein, its job is a cleaner. It's a cleaner, sweeper. It actually is in the bloodstream grabbing some remnants of the LDL. When LDL is doing its job, it leaves off some particles. And some of those particles have cholesterol in them. So HDL grabs them and goes back to the liver, and it's excreted or repurposed. So there's this nice balance that normally happens. Okay, very simply, you make it, you deliver it, the HDL cleans up, and you've got this balance going on. Now with the LDL, let's go into that. LDL has subsets, so like different shapes. And there's 2 major shapes that we talk about. And one is small, dense, and one is big, fluffy. Okay, the small, dense are the ones we don't want. And we tend to see those more when we have an LDL over 100. When the number gets of particles of LDL get up there, we tend to see more of these small, dense ones. And the small, dense ones kind of change the mood in your bloodstream for what the LDL does. So if you can think of, LDL, its main role is to deliver cholesterol. But when we see these small, dense ones, they kind of get distracted. They are not worker bees, okay? When those subset guys are looking to party, okay? I say they're kind of like, okay, I know we have a teacher somewhere, so no offense there. I don't know if you taught at junior high, but to me, this is the picture. I picture a bunch of junior high kids with nowhere to go in the hallways, okay? So that's essentially what happens in your bloodstream, okay? So they just mess around and get, junior high kids, she's 8th grade. So I'm going to imagine they're like shoving each other, showing off. So, but they're not going anywhere, okay? That's kind of like your small, dense LDL. They actually do crash into the sides, they goof off, and we're going to talk about something that can happen when they're goofing off here, but they're not really keeping to their task. So the big fluffy ones, they're worker bees. They keep to their task. We like them in our bloodstream, okay? So that's what happens. Now these remnants we tend to, if we have a low HDL, okay, remember your doctor talks about you want it higher, 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 because statistically, if you have a high HDL, you don't let the remnants of the LDL actually like touch the ground in your arteries, basically. They just scoop them up and they take them back to the liver. So they can't get into trouble because the LDL remnants are easily oxidized. And especially if they're the small, dense ones, we see more of these getting oxidized. And when they're oxidized and the HDL isn't there around to scoop them up, they get into the nicks in your arteries. Okay, so let's talk about the nicks, but let me use a demonstration. So I need you to put on your imagination hat. So I have here, right here. So I have pool noodles here. So pool noodles help me illustrate to you what goes on. So just imagine this is your artery. So 1,000 times bigger. So your artery actually has lots of layers, lumen in there. So, and the very inner one is really delicate, okay? It's called the endothelial, and when you start reading up, you hear a lot about it because it's very important. It's on the inside there. It's delicate, kind of like pantyhose, okay? So I put pantyhose here. Now, I know this is wrong, reverse it, think of it on the inside, okay? So pantyhose here, we want our pantyhose to be smooth. We want no nicks, and you know, women, how hard that is. So what happens though is we can get nicks, and it's kind of like sandpaper in our bloodstream rubbing on this endothelial layer. And of course, we're going to get tears and nicks. And that, let me tell you, that small dense LDL love these. They get oxidized, they go in there, they throw party, they invite waste products along, other LDL, calcium, inflammatory things, think, oh my, there's something going on there. I better go see what's going on. So then we start to get a buildup there. And usually the LDL is one of the first parties to this nick in there. Now, where do the nicks happen? The nicks happen from a handful of lifestyle factors. They can happen from just a high LDL. Think about it. If you have a high LDL, you have more of the small dense, you are just going to have more likely they're going to get in trouble and make a nick. If you have high blood sugar, there's a small change in your viscosity of your blood, just small. But if your blood pressure is high and you have this higher viscosity, you're going to nick. Guys, just think about it. Your heart is pumping 60,000 times a day. Okay? So smoking, any smoke. I don't care what you smoke. There's a lot of different varieties of things nowadays. Smoke is going to make a nick, possibly. Okay? Stress, cortisol there is going to make. Those are things. High triglyceride also changes the viscosity of your blood, just a little bit, but it's enough that we see this more likely, the storm of the nick, then the LDL gets there. And then we have, I mean, if you don't have the nick, guys, you're not going to have plaque buildup. Okay. So now I don't think it's feasible to like never have a nick because we have like style. We have to live a life. But if you can really break down these lifestyle factors and then do some things like we're going to talk about fish and some things like exercise that can help your arteries be flexible and smooth and moisturized so that these nicks are just healed right over quickly. So we don't have the clotting factors in our bloodstream that create the plaque. So, okay, so how does this like cardiac event or happen? So the plaque, okay, so as you know, your arteries, go all throughout your body. And then as that plaque builds up, we get the nick and then we get the plaque building up. Of course, it's going to make this more narrow and we're going to have less flexible arteries. Not good at all. But this buildup of plaque there, what'll happen is in certain spots, it'll probably be a little bigger. And if we have what's called unstable plaque, it's like it can rupture or it can peel. If you've ever had a scab that's driving you crazy, and you pick it, I know, gross, but you pick it. We all have done this up a time or two, and you pick it and it peels back. And you're like, oh, shoot. So you're like, do I lay it back down? Do I just take it off? So, well, this can happen with the nicks inside your arteries. It basically peels it back. And that is like the worst. Like it can tear off and then you've got a piece that circulates. That's not good. But what we find happens actually the majority of the time, not 100%, is you get a peel back of that unstable plaque. And when that peel back happens, there's a little bit of kind of blood inside your artery and your body goes, inflammation, we got to heal it. And your body, this is not the normal kind of balanced healing. It goes there and sends all this inflammatory response there that actually makes it worse. It builds up bigger, 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 okay? And it sticks. So the unstable heel back is what happens, and we build it higher and higher till we get 96% blockage, 100%, stuff like that. So that's how typically a cardiac event happens. It can also happen, a stroke with a piece that goes and gets clogged, in an artery, a small artery in the brain. So, so we want to prevent the plaque from building up. We want to keep this stable if we have plaque, things like that. So LDL, we want to keep low. Triglycerides real quickly, are your fat storage on your body, your storage of, but it's not just fat you eat. That's the misunderstanding. Your body is programmed to store calories for that day when you don't eat, or those 6 months where you don't eat. Well, none of us do that, but we used to go for long periods. So we are predisposed to packing it. So when you eat excess calories, your triglyceride goes up. I don't care if it's protein or carb or what, but your body converts it. It's very good at converting triglyceride, and it will go in your bloodstream, spike your triglycerides, and then it'll probably land in your midsection if you're over 40, okay? So it's great for belly fat, increased calorie needs. The other thing is sugar. Sugar in the blasts that we are seeing nowadays was not present in Mother Nature, and our body really just doesn't know how to deal with it, honestly. And so when you send this big sugar surge from pops and drinks and ice creams and donuts and everything, 75% of products have sugar that are packaged. Then your body goes, oh, I'm going to convert that to triglyceride and pack it as fat, even if it's not excess calories, guys. So you can see it's not just so simple as like, I need to cut my fat down, okay? It's sugar, bolus, I call it bolus, or huge injections of sugar, a little bit in your oatmeal. I do that. That's okay. Okay. So a little bit here and there in fruit, of course, naturally, but we've really got to tune to eating a lot of sugar, and some of it's hidden, some of it's not. So, okay, I want to switch over then to the slides real quickly, just run through them, and then we're going to get started on talking about some important recipes. So I'm going to switch over, and hopefully up there you will see my screen. Do you see? Yes. There we go. Bingo. Yay. Awesome. You guys see it there too? Okay. Oops, we switched. How did I switch? I hit the wrong thing. There we go. I think I got it now. There we go. Okay. So, yeah. Yes. Okay. Oh, so, can I ask you guys to, let me get you the, we're going to heat up the salmon that I cooked earlier. So we have a good taster. Just careful. Put them in there. Okay. Awesome. Thank you for the reminder. Okay. So the greatest wealth is health. This is our quote for the day. I love this one. The greatest wealth is health. If you don't have health, everything else falls. Okay, so here's some strategies for reducing saturated fat. Saturated fat, we want to keep to 10 grams or less. Okay, so we want to replace. You don't even have to like eliminate. I don't, it's okay if you want to eliminate fat. Okay, we can talk about that. But the important thing is you switch to better fats. And if we'll talk more about the caloric density. It's pretty high up there. Fats are, oils are. So if we can just switch from some very saturated fat sources to things that are more monounsaturated. So this is going to be things like switching from butter to olive oil, margarine to canola oil, from cream cheese to peanut butter, things like that. We're going to save about 6 grams of saturated fat when we make those changes. So another strategy, so that's just replacing fats with fats, but healthier type. So you're not going to change your calories, your total calories, but you're going to change what it does in your body. So, okay. So then if we switch then to some whole grains or quality carbs, if we replace some, that's going to be things like instead of meat and chili, beans and chili. Instead of 5 times a week a big cookie, maybe replacing a couple times a fresh fruit. Okay, you don't have to go total, no big cookies if you're doing it right now every day. That's what I'm saying. Okay, baby steps. Those chocolate mini donuts. If you replace them with 2 pieces of whole grain toast and 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, you reduce 6 grams of saturated fat. It's the saturated fat I'm concerned with. That's the one that triggers with the LDL. Okay, and then if we just replace saturated fat with just more nutrient dense sources, like going from sour cream to non-fat Greek yogurt, going from eating tortilla chips with cheese to hummus with some red pepper sticks, you're going to decrease your saturated fat by 1 to 3 grams. Now, blood pressure, we're not going to have a chance to talk too much about that right now, but that is very important, very important. If you have high blood pressure, the total for the day you want to keep with is 1,500 milligrams or less. If it's not high blood pressure, then 2,300. Okay, those are numbers. I don't do many numbers that I want you to remember, but these are numbers I want you to remember. So take note of which one is for you. So lower sodium options, I will be showing you all throughout the classes, but the big ones right now are things like rice box mixes. Okay, you're going to save 500 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium by going to plain white rice, which is cheaper, and then adding a ton of seasonings that don't have salt. Second thing is beans, switching from regular canned beans to no added salt. You're not going to notice a difference in your foods, yet you're going to save 450 milligrams per serving for sodium. Now, if you rinse them with water, you save 185, but to me, 450 is a higher number than 185. For canned tomato products, you'll save 200 to 250 per serving by going to no added salt, no added sodium. So those are some easy ways. Now, right now on the screen, what I want to do is just have you look here for an action step. One thing I really want to emphasize in each week, I have at the end of each week's handouts an kind of an action plan worksheet. It's a place for you to write your intent for the week. And I want you to just pick out one thing, thinking of the next week. What is one action step? Now, this is just a partial list. I have more in the binder on that sheet. And you don't have to do any of the ones on the sheet. They're just to help you get started. And the ones that are listed, again, this is not a diet or a program. You don't have to do those to be super healthy. These are just suggestions. What it's going to look like for you is going to be different than me and different than Bernice and different than Molly and different than Penny. Okay. And you know you, and I want you to start trusting yourself to pick the best one to try out. Now, it might be some trial and error. Okay. What I mean by that is it might not go like you expect, but there's lots of learnings in that. And you have gems that you didn't have if you didn't try it out. So I want you to start thinking about that as we get going. I do want to, let's see, if you can pass out the labels, the product labels, I'll get started with the first, our secret vegetable. Oh, I'm going to get off of here. Sorry, let me get off of here so you guys, and we're going to go to demo, which means room camera. So yes, go ahead and pass out one to everybody. I've got 2 boxes there, Lisa. So bins. Nope, that's great. Okay, so for a product, let me just grab a product here, actually. So first thing, let's see, get something other than vinegar. Let me grab salt here. Okay, so ignore the front, okay? They spend thousands of dollars in focus groups to try and entice you to put it in their cart, your cart. So you want to go, and it gets me sometimes too. I'm like, oh, that's okay. I'm in a hurry. Let me grab that. So go to the back, and you want to go to the nutrition facts and the ingredients list. There's only 5 things I pay attention to. The first thing is the serving size. Now, I'm not going to tell you how much you're supposed to eat. No way. But I want you to get a feel. Am I going to eat this much or more? Because then you need to up the numbers or down the numbers a little bit that I'm going to teach you. So just look at the serving size. They're so much better than they used to be years ago, but they may not be exactly what you're going to eat in that moment. So look at the serving size. If you need to change it, like up, down when you look at the numbers. The other thing is if you're going to compare it to another product on the shelf, you want to make sure you're comparing, a quarter cup, 2 tablespoons, 2 tablespoons, 3 ounces, 3 ounces. Second thing is saturated fat. Skip the calories and the fat. Don't care about those. Go to the saturated fat. Again, like I said, 10 grams. So think fingers, toes, 10 grams. This is one number I want you to commit to memory. No more than 10 grams of saturated fat for all your drinks, snacks, beverages, and meals. 10 grams of saturated fat. That will change your lipid health hugely. Next, we want to go to sodium. And this is the shocker. Like, start reading labels next week and come back and tell me. Your eyes are going to be glossed over because there's so much sodium. It's cheap and we have an affinity for it. Yes.
Is there a difference between sodium and salt?
Yes. Difference between sodium and salt. Salt is sodium chloride, so it's a combination, but we tend to interchange them when we're talking nutrition. We're paying attention on the label to the sodium, and the 2300 number or the 1500 number is the sodium in milligrams. So very good question. So remember, you want, in general, it's really hard. You got to start kind of generally adding them up. But a general guide we say is look at the calories. If the calories say it's 300, then you want around 300 or less milligrams of sodium. Now, if you're 375, I'd be like, oh, okay. But if you're 700, it's like, whoa, that's a lot. Okay, that's a general guide. You're going to have to work around it for some of your condiments, but that's a general guide because 1,500 calories for most of us, unless you're, a very serious athlete, you're not going to be intaking many more calories than 1,500. Okay. So, so that's a guide. So just start paying attention. You're going to see things that are 400, 700, 1,100. Whew. So, okay. Next thing is sugar. Now, I usually don't really pay attention to the number, but so many people love numbers. So, okay. So added sugar. You now have a breakdown for total and then added sugar. Added sugar, 10 grams or less. That's 2.5 teaspoons. If you got 2.5 teaspoons of sugar in something, whoa, that is a lot. Now, if you're holding the apple juice like you are there, Maria, that's going to have, that's going to have sugar in it. So you have to know that and go, I'm using 2 tablespoons or 1 tablespoon. Okay, that's going to be okay. So, but just be aware. Next, jump down to the ingredient list. Ingredients are listed by weight. So the first ingredient weighs the most. Sometimes it's water. Now, for sugar, I usually use the ingredient list. And I look for a name for sugar in the first 3 to 5 ingredients, because then it weighs a lot in that product. And it's a lot of sugar if it's in the top 3 to 5. So you're not going to see the word sugar listed very often. You're going to see things like dextrose, fructose, galactose, sugar cane, evaporated, all kinds of things like that. If you think it's sugar, it is sugar. There's 61 names for sugar on labels. Okay. So agave, honey, all those things are sugar, guys. Your body treats them just like sugar.
Teresa?
Yes. Yes.
Online. Is the total sugar, when they give a total sugar number, does that include the added sugars?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It does. Thank you for asking. That's the naturally in the product and then added. So naturally in the base of the product. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying. And then the last thing's really difficult, and that's whole grain. So whole grain is 3 layers of the grain. We'll talk more about that. Most things that are packaged that have a label are not going to put whole grain in there because shelf life goes down, its cost goes up, and its taste changes for the common kind of public. So instead, most of the time, we're going to have a side dish that we do as our whole grain. But you can look for things like quinoa, brown rice, amaranth, farro, whole grain. Okay, not wheat, whole grain. It's very tricky when we get into the breads and the grains. So just look at the ingredient list, see how far up it is. Oats is another possibility that you might find there. So, but for the most part, if we want a whole grain, we're going to have to make it on the side. Okay, you ready to get started? Okay. Oh, I want to hear, give me a thumbs up if your product passed kind of our criteria. We got a thumbs up, got thumbs down. Okay, we got some thumbs up here, thumbs down. Okay, we got some thumbs up, thumbs down over there. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and switch then because we've got to make some delicious dishes for the rest of the time. So I'm going to go to room camera and I'm going to
go ahead and pick these up.
Yes, thank you so much, Linda. Okay, are you guys seeing the camera here-ish?
Yeah.
Okay, at home, yes, awesome. Okay, so my secret vegetable is kale. So I used to be the Wendy's girl in the 80s. Okay, I worked at Wendy's in high school. Okay. And they had that salad bar with the ice, and they put the kale all around it because kale is so robust. Okay, I got real tired of kale. Okay, because I was always put on salad bar. So, but I learned to love kale. And actually for lunch, I had this salad. I made this salad as my bulk salad this week because I love it. Okay, and I know you guys are going to devour it, so there's not going to be any leftovers for me. So, kale. So kale in the grocery store, unless it has brown spots on it, it's usually revivable. It can look sad at times in the grocery store, but if you put it in cold ice water for like 10 minutes, you'll revive it. So the trick to kale is knowing how to kind of tame down the bitterness. Now, the bitterness is a good part of it. We'll get into that another point, but we need to tame it down a little bit. So the key to that is to get rid of the spine, the stem. That's where a lot of the bitter is. And then there's another trick. So to get rid of the spine, you can cut it off, but that's so boring. So we're going to take this and take our finger and our thumb and just like that. Okay. You see how easy that is? Whoops, that doesn't always work. So, but you can just work it off like that. And most of the time it just kind of works. It kind of works. There we go. So, but you just get that stem off. And don't tell my mother-in-law that we're going to throw those away, but she uses everything. So, and then we chopped it up. Okay, but I already have this. Sorry, we're going to toss that. So I know. So here's my 7 to 8 cups for one. So I've chopped it up. So, okay. So the dressing I'm going to make real quick here I actually think it's just easiest. I've done this when I've had to do demos out and about. It works really well. So we're going to use olive oil. This is, I want to teach you about olive oil. I don't have time right now to go into it, but it's really so important. You actually can help your LDL if you get the right olive oil. So I'm not going to encourage you to increase your oil intake, probably actually decrease it for most people, I'm just saying. But it's important that you get the right olive oil because you want the one that's manually processed and not chemically processed. And that is a true extra virgin. There's a lot of fraud. So you might think you're getting an extra virgin. I'll go into that another time, but just know this is one I use all the time. So olive oil and apple. This is a nice vinegar with a little sweetness. It's not the mildest, but not the strongest. So I like that one. So about a 1/3 cup of the olive oil and a 1/4 cup of the roughly, I made this in the morning really quickly, just eye-siding it because I'm like, oh, what do I want? Oh, I've got some kale. Let me just make it real quick. So it's once you get to that point, once you've made it, you can do it in your sleep. You can just grab things and do it. So garlic, I'm doing 1.5 teaspoons of the jar garlic. If you're new to cooking in the kitchen like this, get the jar garlic. Once you get going, then especially when we get to the pesto and the recipes you have in the back, then you're going to want to use fresh garlic. But to get started, it's going to slow you down and you're going to get frustrated doing the cloves. So we're going to add a little bit of Dijon. So I love Dijon. I'll show you the Dijon in another recipe, but we're just going to add 1.5 tablespoons of that. We're going to add just a little bit. Salt's not evil. They just add too much in products. So 2 shakes there. It brings out flavor when you know how to use it. And then just some cranks of pepper. Pepper actually is an antioxidant, so we love that in there. And actually, it's good kick with the olive oil. So there we go. And we're just going to shake that up. And Lisa, you want to come up here and you want to massage? Okay, the kale, let me give you some gloves here. So the secret to breaking down, okay, so kale is kind of bristly, okay? Yeah, it is. When you eat it, it's like brushing your top of your mouth. So we want to make it more like romaine, which is a little nicer texture. Plus, we want to tone down a little more of the bitterness. So we can mechanically, she can just massage it and she's going to break it down with her hands. And also the acid in here is going to break it down. So I'm going to add most of it and then she's going to massage it and then we'll finish adding it. But this is a great way. In about 2 minutes, it'll like break it all down. It'll brighten the green because it pops the bubbles near the cell surface, the air. So it's brighter green. And it will break it down to like a romaine consistency. Now, you don't need to massage it too long if it's going to be like 4 hours to eat it, because it will over time break down some more. But if you're going to eat it at the table, put it at the table. I do it for about 2 minutes. And it's a great way to kind of de-stress. So let me go ahead and
before, and she's right.
It's a very simple, and part of the secret, you're going to be like, Teresa, that is good, is because kale is bitter, it's strong, it's robust. So it needs a robust match. Garlic, and we're going to add, I'm going to put some sour apple in there. Sour is what I find is the best. You're welcome to do red, but I'm telling you the sour, and I love Fuji. I eat Fuji. Did you know Fuji doesn't go brown? So if you cut it up, you can like eat it over the next couple hours, just a little bit, but it doesn't have the enzyme that oxidizes it and goes brown. But I always have a green apple for my cauliflower salad and my kale salad around there. So we're also going to toss some raisins and some walnuts, because the raisins are kind of a nice sweet bite, and the walnuts actually have a little bitter edge if you know the outside of the walnut, and walnuts are super heart healthy. So go ahead and toss it a little bit. So it's a great combination. It really is. And I eat off of this. I made it on Sunday and I ate off of it today for lunch. Now I know it wasn't the most beautiful looking, but it still tasted great. And it was done, it was made. So I was taking it. So yeah, so this is just a wonderful salad. Look at that. So can you guys see that at home, how beautiful that looks? It's turned a bright green. And it's got all those flavors together there that really work together. So I can't wait for you to try it. So, okay. So then we're going to get going with salmon. So let's see here. I'll have you go ahead and put that. You know what? I am going to ask you to just put my papers on the floor, because we're going to have to make this so that people can get food there. I just realized that, my papers. So let's see. Yes, so the salmon, let me grab that.
Question about the
Yes,
apple cider vinegar.
yes.
Would it have the mother? You know, they sell with the mother, the thing that's floating. Or sometimes it doesn't have.
Say that again. I'm not familiar with that. It's
Yeah,
not.
talking
About Bragg's that has the mother, it's called the mother culture in it.
Oh, you know, I have not tried that. Do you use that, Bernice?
I have used it.
Okay, well, if you use it, tell me if it's good. Like, you're
All
gonna
the
taste
time.
it tonight.
All the time.
Okay, I have not used that. So Bernice is sharing about Bragg's, and see, these are things that I learned. So I just usually go for the cheapest. So, but do you have some at home, Bernice?
Yeah.
Would you be willing to make the kale salad next week if you like it? Okay, and tell us how it is. Okay, she's gonna report back. So, okay. Let's see, my salmon is over here, remember now. Okay, this salmon recipe is my favorite. I make it Christmas Eve. I make it even during the week on normal weeks. It's so easy and delicious. It's like a sin not to make it frequently. So, so it's only like 5 ingredients technically. So salmon I got from Hy-Vee. You can use frozen. I get it from Walmart with my, budget all the time, frozen. So, but this is what you want to watch for when you get it from Hy-Vee and places like that is try and get as much you can same thickness. If not, if it's got the hump in the middle, cut that off because it's going to be a nightmare trying to get it to temperature. I'm going to spray my pan with nonstick. Make sure your nonstick is olive or canola oil. And the only way you can check that without getting fooled, because I did, is go to the back in the ingredients list and make sure there's not a palm oil in there, because sometimes they dilute them. So, and they're sneaky. Okay, so we are going to first, we're going to rub our seasoning on it, and it's only 2 seasonings. These are no salt. Mrs. Dash, you can actually get the lemon pepper from Aldi's with their stone mill. We've had a little problem getting Mrs. Dash at some stores, but this is like just get like a kind of, it's a table blend. So it could be a garlic or a table, just something good, normal to dilute with the lemon pepper. Okay, I tried the lemon pepper 100% one time, like, it's basically 1 teaspoon for each fillet. My kids, like, when they got it, they were like, what'd you do this time? So it was very peppery. So it's lemon pepper. It's really good, but it needs to kind of have something to mix with it. So, so you just basically do a 1/2 teaspoon of each, mix it for each fillet. The recipe's in my head. I can go do it at somebody's house if I need to be. So, and if you want to go a little more in the seasoning, that's fine. Just make sure it's a 1-to-1 with both of these. Okay. So I'm just going to spread that, rub that on there. You can do it however, in a bowl. I could have put it in the bowl and just kind of smushed it in there, but let me go ahead and turn this on to get this started. And we're going to first pan sear it, and then we're going to poach it. We're pan searing it. Oh, what's on there that you don't like? Okay.
This on it.
Oh, maybe, yes. This is a picky stove.
I read.
So, gosh, it's still. Okay, let's try again. It might be dirty. I might need to clean it up. It's really picky.
Spray can sitting on it too.
It's on the edge. Let's see. Let's see if it's okay. When it gets, yeah, it's dirty. Okay, let me real quickly and I will.
Okay.
Let me get that. I've got here. It's okay, I've got, here it is. It's really picky. Like if there's moisture. I know, I'm a messy cook too, so it drives me crazy. So there we go. Okay, I think it's gonna be okay now. Okay. We need heat, guys. We need heat. I do have 10 fillets already cooked, so I think we're okay if we do have to. So, okay, there we go. So, we're gonna pan sear because we need to get it to temperature. So we want to get it to temperature 145. If I poach it, I'll never get it to 145 because the lemon and the wine is going to lower the boiling temperature and it's not going to get to 145. Now it will still cook like in our traditional, what we say, can you flake, can it opaque, but the viruses won't be killed if there were viruses. I'm not going to scare you, but so chefs online will like show you the fancy ways and they'll say 120, 145. So we're going to get it to 145. Pan sear it, get some flavor in there, and then we're going to take 1 lemon per, I've already done this, but 1 lemon per fillet. You zest it. So just there's different zesters, but you just want to go through. It's about a tablespoon. You don't have to perfectly get off all the peel there, just lightly. Don't go way down. So you can see here I've got my zest, and then your lemon. You want to squeeze 1 lemon per fillet. Now, if you don't have a lemon squeezer like this here, this works perfectly. You just, put this in the microwave 20 seconds or roll it a little bit, take the half and put it in between on your there and tongs and just squeeze it. You got a squeezer, so you don't need to buy any. And then, so we've got our lemon juice I squeezed here, and then we've got wine. We use wine because it does lower the temperature and helps create this kind of steamed atmosphere environment so that it injects the flavor with the lemon. Now, the alcohol will evaporate off almost all. Okay, now if you're allergic to alcohol, no way do you do this. So like you're not going to feel it like you're drinking a glass of wine or anything close to that. But I'm just saying if somebody's allergic to alcohol, then you don't serve them this. You would substitute then a broth, but it's not going to be quite the same because it doesn't have the same kind of boiling change and it doesn't break down the protein like the wine and you've had ceviche where it's breaking it down without cooking it. Now that you got to be careful with that, but as far as wine goes, this is my go-to for this recipe. I'm not a wine snob, but I do drink some wine, and this is not like a high-end white wine, but I will have a glass, don't get me wrong, but it's great for cooking. It's not that expensive. It's $5 to $6 now. It's a Chardonnay. So this is what I keep around and use for this recipe all the time. So you can always ask the person, the manager, clerk, say, hey, I'm making some salmon with lemon. What kind of white wine should I have? So that's it. So you're gonna see, we're gonna cook that in a second. I'm gonna flip it over. Now, if you're making it for 20 guests, like I have to tonight, so what you do is you pan sear it earlier in the day, and then you put it in your baking pan, and I put it, if you notice, I put it on several slices of lemon. I just sliced lemon and put that in the bottom of the pan, then put the fillets on top because I really want to inject that lemon into it. So then I took my lemon, used the same ratio I did here. My lemon, it's a 1/4 cup of the wine, and then 1 lemon squeezed. Put that together, and then put that in the pan and let it set with aluminum foil over it in the refrigerator. Now you saw at 6:10, we put it in a 325 oven. At 7 o'clock, we'll take it out. You just need to like take it out after like 30, 45, an hour. We're already safe. So it's not about like a certain temperature. It's more just get it heated through and get some of the lemon and wine to immerse it. So it's super easy. It's delicious. Everybody loves it. So there you go. So it's an easy recipe to do if you're tired too at the end of the night. Once you've made it a couple times and it's, it's just almost relaxing to make it. So, okay, let's see how we're doing here. If I need to, let's turn it down just a little bit. I'm gonna let that go. I don't want to overcook it. Okay, and you can't really, actually, I have overcooked this in a sense many, many, many times. What happens is the spices will turn like blackened, and that's part of the cooking. Just know that when you then poach it, everything goes away and it's beautiful. So it's moist and it's flavorful, so you really can't ruin this dish. Okay, so cookies, let me just take a real quick about the cookies, because I want you to be sure you know how to do those. Now the cookies they have quick oats. Quick oats don't have salt added. Quick oats are basically old-fashioned oats blended a little bit. So if you don't have quick oats, you can just blend a little bit your old-fashioned oats you have. So, but this is a great source of whole grains. It actually has beta glucan, which is known to lower LDL. So that's why if you come to the intensive cardiac rehab program here, we are going to really push oatmeal. So in the recipe, we also recommend using, and I don't know if I said that on the recipe. I tried to update my recipes and I think I caught that I didn't, but a low sodium baking powder. Okay. Now, were you able to find this, Elaine? You found it where? Okay, Elaine hasn't found it. It's been in the past at Hy-Vee's, but with COVID, we've seen things change. So this is, the Rumford, which is a common brand, but it's low sodium and it's reduced sodium. It's half the sodium of the regular brand. It has 30 milligrams versus 60. These are just good ways to start reducing your sodium. It doesn't change the recipe. So
I have seen it at Hy-Vee.
okay,
And I
good.
ordered on Amazon. It's about $3 more on Amazon.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Julie said she found it at Hy-Vee. It must be the Hy-Vee. I go to the Rock Island one here, and sometimes they don't have the same things other ones do. So
In the health market.
No, it's in with the spice, the baking aisle.
baking aisle. Okay, thank you, Julie. Okay, so this is made just like traditional kind of cookies, except a lot less oil. You cream together the brown and the white sugar with canola, 2 tablespoons of canola oil. That's a kind of neutral oil. Otherwise, I'd use olive oil, but olive oil is not neutral. And then you add in Greek yogurt, non-fat plain Greek yogurt, which is like a secret. Now, if you eat the dough in theory plain, without cooked, you would taste the kind of sourness, but it goes away when you cook it, I promise. It actually helps. It's better than applesauce for cookies and biscuits, I find, when you're trying to substitute for oil. So you add that and 1 egg and vanilla and then the quick oats and then just a little bit of semi-sweet chocolate chips. If you want to do dark, fine, but I have trouble finding the smaller dark. They're always the bigger chips, which doesn't spread out as much. So just my theories. So I want to show you, this is how I do it on the pan there. So you just see, these are ugly drops. That's all you need to do. You don't need to be fancy. So they're very homemade. This is how the dough looks. So I just want you to have a glimpse of how this goes together. And then today you're going to taste them, but here's how they look when they're done. Okay. So now these are not a meal replacement, guys. These are cookies. So
Get your bowl with a spoon.
Looks good to me.
So go ahead, you can open that and set that down there. Thank you. Yes. See how these are cooking? Can you see that? I don't know if you can at home see that. So you see they got pretty good done there, but we're gonna get them. I want to get them to 10. We gotta cook them. I will not. I refuse to. I'd rather overcook them. Okay. Let's see. What was I gonna say? Okay, we got cookies. So the dressing, and then let's see. Lisa, after that, can you grab in the Linda, can you grab, there's 2 bags of cauliflower in the freezer. And we want to put them in the microwave just in the bag for 7 minutes. Yes, it's mad at me.
I have a question about the
7
The
minutes.
fish.
Nope. Okay. So there's water here, see? It gets very mad. So there we go. Okay,
I'm
awesome.
trying to talk to
So
the-
this is a dressing that is
talk to the-
great for salad, for dipping carrots,
Well, I think I
broccoli,
have a
especially like cauliflower,
way
is
to talk.
stronger, kind of cruciferous. It also is great for fish. Like I've had many people in class that just brush it on their fish and then, put it for 350 for like 15 minutes, depending how thick the fillet is, on parchment, and you're done. You got a meal. So it's super easy. We're going to use the Dijon. Dijon is just such a great match with so many things. So get the lowest sodium one you can. Now, this is not my favorite one. Nothing against you, Greg Papon, but my favorite one is Culinary Tours. It's the lowest sodium one, and it's a wine one. You've got like 100 different varieties of Dijon mustards. If you're on that aisle, you're like, wow. But the wine one is usually the lowest sodium, and the Culinary Tours is a brand that I like. They just didn't have it at the Hy-Vee. So we're going to use, I'm going to make a double batch of this, but I think it's a 1/4 cup. So I've got a 1/2 cup here. And then I'm going to add in there. Now, this is really, if you have high blood pressure and like mustard, you got to get this. This is a stone ground mustard by West Bray Natural. And you got to order it online. No, but it has 0. You heard that right. 0 sodium in it. So it's a great zing. It has, it's not much anything. So, but flavor. It's a lot of flavor. So we're good. What?
Should talk to them at Bochis.
I know, people have told me I need to like go there because everybody brags about it. I'm like, well, the sodium, but maybe they would do something. So,
Bochis goes a long way.
a little goes a long ways. So garlic powder and oregano, just real simple there. And then, with the oregano with tones, a cool thing is there's like a string here. And if you can't find it, that's okay. Just peel back right where you kind of see where it is and then go, whoa, and then you get the top off. That way you can measure much easier. So this is what I do in all my tones. So the last secret ingredient is apple juice concentrate. So this is just like apple juice concentrate. We just put it here. We didn't dilute it at all. This is like from the dollar store. This is one way to store it in your refrigerator because it's a pain to put the lid back on here. Now, apple juice concentrate is sugar, guys, okay? There's no secret there. Why we're using it is because it's got a little more flavor than regular sugar. Your body's going to see it as sugar, and we're only going to use a little because we're using it as a dressing or as a little dip. So it's a little less processed, a little bit than table sugar, sucrose. So that's why we're using it. So actually, I want to whisk this. So I'm just going to whisk this together. And that's it. So it's strong. You only need a little bit, but there's all different uses to it. No fat. Yes, it does have sugar, but you're going to be eating it with things with fiber, hopefully. So, or fish with protein. So you're not going to be eating it with other sugar things. So with the apple juice concentrate, here's the thing about it that I find is if you're not using it, then like what's going to happen in 2 weeks sitting in your refrigerator to this? It's going to be moldy or turn into wine or, so some people have told me in class that they just put this in the freezer and scoop it out. I don't know what kind of freezer they have, but it's never worked quite that way for me. But I usually will pour this into an ice cube and just pop them out and have that. So then I have because sometimes if you just need a little sweetness and it's a sweet dish, a little bit of apple juice concentrate is nice to add into it. So, okay. So let's see. I'm going to have, if you can pour this to this so that we can make it so that we can taste it. So I think we probably are done with, it kind of cut off. Oh, it didn't like that, did it? Let me see where there are 10. We might put this back up. Okay, let's turn on just a little bit. It's a little low, but not that much. And then we need to poach it. So I want to turn it back up. So we haven't poached it. We need to finish poaching it. I lost track because of my water, my mess. Okay, please. What is your problem? Oh, never been so picky. It never has been so picky. Just a little water, guys. Just a little. Okay. Now this stove is made for demos because you can boil water like in 1 minute here. It's so quick. It's very hot, but it's.
So it's like that,
Okay, let's get everything off. Yes, it is. So yeah, so we need special pans and stuff. And it's really nice that way, but sometimes it's a little bit of mind of its own. There we go. Okay, last recipe is we're getting the we're going to finish up, but I want you to think about, because this is perfect timing. I want you to think about what your action step. I'm almost through all the recipes. This is an important one too, but think about, flip in the binder to what, looking at what it is you want to do this coming week. Are you confident? How confident are you? Okay. Now it's okay if things don't go as planned. Okay, guys, I want you to know that up front. But I also want to set you up, think, okay, am I taking too big a step? Or am I trying to do something that I've struggled with before? Probably not the first thing you should do. So we'll get to things that were more challenging down the road, but start with things that are easy that you can take action on. Okay, so this is the Naked Burrito Bowl. So the secret here is we're using cauliflower rice. And Linda put that in there, and we're just heating it in the bag. Now, cauliflower rice, when you do it from frozen, you need to match it with a strong seasoning, okay? Because of that sulfur, okay? And if you overcook, it's not going to burn, but you're going to get some of the water coming out, which means you're going to get a stronger sulfur, okay? If you have water coming out, make sure you kind of drain it off, okay? Because that's going to make it really strong. So just follow the directions of the bag, heat it or, measure it, heat it, but you need to have a strong match for it if you're going to eat it straight from the microwave heated, okay? And that is Chipotle seasoning. This is Mrs. Dash. I don't know if you can get a Stone Mill look-alike, but you want to make sure no added salt. But this is really strong, and it's really a great match. Thank you so much. So I'm just going to measure up. I've got a couple teaspoons here with my black beans, no added salt. Both of these, I had to buy this because this one was out, but this is the cheaper one. No added salt, see? So beans that I drained. Now this calls for 1 cup. Can you grab in the freezer, pull it way out, and then the top basket, hit the cutting board with the beans. So Lisa's going to show you what I do with beans, because a can has 1.5 cups. So what are you going to do with the 1/2 cup? You're going to toss it out? Don't. Okay. It's not expensive, but you can freeze it just on parchment. And I usually use a cutting board, and then you can just break it up and put it in a container then and have it frozen and ready to go. Okay. So it's a real easy way to have beans that you just throw in and you use it. So, okay. So we've got our beans here. Oops. Okay, so let's, can you guys at home see that far burner? You guys can see it. Okay, you guys can see it. Okay. Okay, so what happened to here's my base post here. Need to get this. We need our wine, our lemon juice, and then our lemon zest. Very simple. So we're just going to poach it. So notice the steam coming up. And so you want to make sure your pan isn't so big that it's barely you can see it's about halfway coming up and bubbling. So you want about that to, a little more so that it really immerses the flavor in there. So this is going to make it super moist, flavorful. So just about 2 to 3 minutes, I'll just cover it. But you watch it for 2 minutes and take it off the heat. So thank you, because I will get distracted. Yeah. So thank you. So we're going to mix this in. So if you want chicken, then I would, and I have chicken for you guys here at home to try if you want, but I want you to try it with just the beans first to see if that's tasty. But I would then rub it with and cook it and chop it up into bits with the chipotle. Okay, so but we're just going to make it without beans, but it's fine if you want to make it with some chicken. So I am going to then add the cauliflower rice. Now, if you were to take the cauliflower rice and roast it, then it would be a completely different flavor, guys. Okay, it would be milder, some caramelization, a little bit would happen. So that you can be like garlic and nutritional yeast and a little seasoning. But here, because it's just straight out of the microwave, we got to be strong with our seasoning. So let's just add just a little bit more so that I think they should have enough, but let's just. You can heat up the beans if you want to, but usually when this comes out piping hot, it's enough. So we're gonna put that in there, and then we're gonna add the beans to it. And then we're gonna add some salsa. This is the Linda salsa. This is the lowest sodium that you're gonna find in this area. It's the most boring label, but it's at Hy-Vee. It's not at Walmart. If you go to Walmart, then On the Border or Newman's Own, they're higher salt, but you know, this adds a lot of flavor. So those are the lowest that you're going to find on the shelf usually. So we're going to mix in some salsa, and that's it. Now, then I would add additional seasoning that you have around. So that is going to be cilantro. So perfect. Thank you. We'll just power it all up. Thank you. Okay. So cilantro, love cilantro. Next week, I'll tell you about this, how you keep it. So, but we're going to add some cilantro. Actually, I'll let you guys add cilantro if you want to. And then the last thing, I can go, I'll grab my chicken somewhere. Here it is. So you can set that out. Thank you. So I love this. So I love avocado. So, and I usually have 5 to 7 avocados in my house, refrigerator, counter, all different places. But you know, when you need it, it's not ripe, it's not ready. So there are these holy avocado, not the guacamole, okay? A lot of the stores have a ton of guacamoles of these little ones. Look for the avocado. So you can just add this then. So I'll let you guys add this as you want to them, but I've got them here. The cool thing is, I know it's not cheap, guys, and I watch money all the time, but you can put this in the freezer for 3 months. Okay, so you use one and then put them in the freezer. I wrote the other day in black marker the date 3 months out so that I know I need to use it by then. So avocado is super great fiber, super great type of oil, and super anti-inflammatory. So it's a great flavor. So I love it. I use it all the time. So there you go. Naked burrito bowl. I know it seems so simple here, but it is. And actually, the first time I made this, my son was 15. He's now 19. I made it, and he's a fanatic for white rice. Okay, I have a rice cooker, the largest you can get rice cooker, and he'll go through a whole thing of white rice. Just sit down. I made this for the family, and I know he thought it was white rice. He said, "Mom, that was good." He had no clue because it has so much seasoning in it, and to this day he'll eat it. So awesome. So last thing, I know we're at the top of the hour. What I'd love for you to do is to share what your action step is, what your intent. Now, it may not go as planned. I just want to prepare you. It may go great. You may do more. I don't know. But just have self-compassion no matter what happens. But you're here changing your health by taking action. So if those of you at home want to send in the chat, or if you feel comfortable, take yourself off chat, and we can hear here. It's actually working really well. Anybody here want to share what they're gonna aim for this next week? Yes.
I'm trying to talk about instead of using ground beef, I'm gonna try those black beans.
Ooh,
Spaghetti.
for some spaghetti. Awesome.
And maybe try with chickpeas for myself.
Okay.
On the regular pasta for my husband, but chickpea pasta, I have some at home, and I've been too nervous to try it.
Yay.
5 weeks to try it.
Wow, Naomi is going to do chickpea pasta for her, and her husband's going to get regular pasta, and then she's going to do black beans instead of ground beef for her. So, woo! Okay. Now that's not what I call baby steps either. So Naomi, Naomi's been through my class before, so I'll let you. So yes, Nancy.
Read the labels and really concentrate on the sodium part.
Awesome. Okay, Naomi's going to concentrate on sodium on the labels. Wonderful. So let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to not familiar. Are we okay? Go ahead there, Terry. You look like you want to share. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to.
Take yourself
share
off mute.
that-
There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my plan is to swap out sugars. And now you're unfrozen, but you were frozen for a while, Teresa. So will the taping, do you think, move fluidly without freezing on the screen? Do you know?
I will see about the video. So
Okay.
I have older videos as a backup that I've done the other classes for all these dishes. So that's my backup. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll get you something. Sorry about that.
No trouble. Your verbal was great, but I missed all of the great tips on the frozen beans, but you're frozen again, so don't worry about it. But
Okay.
yes,
Well, don't be afraid, Terry. Don't be afraid to ask me to clarify if you didn't catch something because of the recording or, frozen, or you just have a question, please reach out to me.
Okay,
So going to try the apple mustard. I see something, dressing to dip celery and carrots. Awesome. So thank you, Beth. Okay, anything else here? Okay, Bernice is trying that kale. I you twisted her arm into that. So she's going to report back to us. So awesome. So think about it, what you're going to do, even start thinking differently, looking at things differently. Just look at your cupboard, look at your routines, being aware of things. So thank you so much. I'm going to get things set up for people to taste here. I'm here if you want to send a question, if you want to shout out off mute. But I'm here to support you wherever you need support on your health journey. Thank you. Fish, guys, I didn't really go into fish. Fish is what makes your arteries smooth. Like it helps smooth over the nicks. I call it moisturizer for your inner arteries. So, and it's the omega-3s, and it's really hard to get omega-3s in anything but fish, like really impossible. So it's recommended fish twice a week, non-fried. If you're not eating fish twice a week, just get to once a week and then gradually work on twice a week. But it is super heart healthy. It actually slows down the release of triglycerides in your bloodstream, so it lowers your triglycerides. So omega-3s are fantastic if you have high triglycerides. So it also prevents clotting factor that clots for platelets. So in the plaque buildup. So it's really good for your arteries. So I didn't get to that. Fish also, there's the highest in omega-3s spell the word smash. It's salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, and herring. And that's why we do the salmon here, because it's the highest. Now, any fish is fantastic. Tilapia, cod, flounder. The only ones that you want to stay away from are the super huge old ones, like swordfish, I think tilefish from Mexico. Tuna is a questionable one. I love it. It's super high in omega-3s, but it's also older. So it has more mercury in it. So I just don't have tuna too often. So
Tuna has more mercury.
it does, because it's bigger. So it eats the little fish and it's older, it stays around. So it's higher than salmon. So, but there is, like for canned fish, there's a brand called Safe Fit.
The mustard.
Refit.
Yeah.
And make sure it's very low. So for canned fish, I'd be okay with tuna by Safe Fit. It's a brand that you can get around here.